Okay.
Okay, so assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Right, guys, if you can just let us know, whoever is listening and watching and with us, if you can just let us know if the sound is working. So hopefully, you guys talk. Can you guys talk?
Wait, let me just You killed my father. I need the revenge. I think there's a delay.
Okay, is it working? Yeah, guys, can you hear us? So hopefully, we should be getting some people coming on now. So yeah, so anyway, today the topic is about, what was the topic about anyway? Motivation.
What hand are you drinking with, Mufti Sahib?
This is the right hand, guys. Actually, I realized when this video later on shows up, it's gonna be like proper. How come mine was this way? How comes I'm getting this?
And when you're ready, Mufti Sahib, and I'm going live.
Okay. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm live.
Okay, we're live on Facebook as well. In Don Be Ek Live Take Your.
What language is that?
I have no idea.
I think this is where you do the introduction.
Right. So we are on, guys. I think next time, what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and do some tricks on here, and I'm going to try to get that some background banner or something.
You can try the backgrounds.
Like, have some like nice background, maybe like on a beach or something. Yeah. Or like in a sewer with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles around us. One of those kind of like
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I like that one. You got to say that's good.
Okay, so guys, can you guys see us? Someone's come on. The fun has come on. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
MashaAllah.
Okay, Cam is there loud and clear. Right, so
yes, Cam.
Can you guys hear Altaf and Naveed's can you hear it properly?
Assalamu alaikum, guys. Can you hear us?
Can you guys read the comments?
Where did Cam give salam, on YouTube or on Facebook?
Yeah, YouTube.
YouTube, mashallah. Cam's got a YouTube account. Killing it, Cam. Smashing it.
He didn't tell you about it. That's what it was, Nav.
Allah.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. So yes, guys. So mashallah, another day of Ramadan. So for me, it's been about 6 days now. 6, yeah. Tomorrow's the 7th. No, actually, today's 7th, isn't it? Yeah, 7. Tomorrow's the 8th. And for you guys, what is it?
What do you mean, you guys? Don't pigeonhole me with this guy, Mufti Sahib.
It's the day before for us. Come on, man. It's not that bad.
Subhanallah.
We did local cycling.
Local sighting.
Like that Sahabi who delayed in the Jummah. He wanted to stay back. I remember the other Sahaba, they went early to the battle. And then this one Sahabi, 500 years later, is going to enter. Maybe that one extra day of fasting, subhanallah.
I think Altaf just likes being awkward anyway. Altaf was on the 18-degree timetable before the ulama will come out with it, to be honest.
Okay, so guys, Umar Mo is saying Gujarati. Just a random word there. Random from nowhere, just...
Thank you, brother.
Normally you hear salam, you hear, hi, hello, good evening.
Kemche, macha mache.
Is this a Gujarati thing that you just start off with? A random Gujarati word.
Okay. It's not a random Gujarati word, Mufti Sahib. It's because I was counting back in Gujarati. That's what it was.
Oh, right. Oh, sure.
Is this what you meant by the delay?
This is the delay, bro. That's the delay. Umar Mo saying, Mufti, don't you guys read Taraweeh? Don't you guys read Taraweeh? That's the question.
What's up? I got a question about Taraweeh.
Go on.
So, they say in Jama'at, there's a whole discussion about 8 and 20, which is fair enough, right?
Yeah.
But if you're praying at home and you're not praying in Jama'at,
yeah,
can you just pray 8?
You can pray.
Oh, see that now.
Okay, let me have a look in the books. Let me check the books. Oh, look what we have here. We have a book here. Aha!
First 1,000 words in Arabic.
This is where I get all the answers for Altaf's questions.
I think leave that one, bro.
It's a good question, man.
Yeah. So basically, I mean,
At home, I'm talking about, not in the Jama'ah.
I mean, the thing with Taraweeh is that look, you should pray your Taraweeh, pray as much as you can. Yeah. Ideally, you pray what's reported from the Sahaba. 20 was the majority that they should pray,
Mhm.
and that's it. So it's not like it's not like something which which is kind of like incumbent upon a person to pray all 20. But it's like certain things in fiqh are like you should try your best to do them. Yeah, try your best to do them. It was like because it's emphasized from the Sahaba.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you try your best, and a lot of people, they find it difficult. You can understand as well. A lot of them can't understand the recitation, and but yeah, try your best.
Can you pray 36?
Let me check. There's another book. Let me check.
Now we haven't got books out today.
I know that.
Well, I'll pull my books out, brother. Wait 1 second. Which one do you want?
Subhanallah. Look all of that. What is that? Is that like the what's the yellow pages? And
It's my Roald Dahl collection.
Allah, are your alif ba is on the right way as well?
We're making it on the right way so that everybody knows our levels by watching the video. They can see that Nas got no knowledge. They got Altaf's got alif ba ta sa, and Mufti Saab's got all the kitabs.
MashaAllah.
Okay, so let's check this out. So he said,
I'll just put this here.
very clear voice. Saeed Ali saying Umar Mo, he spoke in Gujarati. 3, 2, 1. All right. Oh, so Umar Mo's Gujarati, yeah? Umar Mo, Kemcho. Haru che.
Maja mache.
Maja mache.
Magar mache.
In Karachi, there's a place called what's it called, man? I forgot the name of the place. So basically, it's like a tomb of a so-called wali pir, yeah, and there's crocodiles there. So if you want to get reward, what you do is you throw things at the crocodiles. It's basically like a zoo, Islamic
This
zoo.
pir, could it have been Indiana Jones?
Actually, it might have been,
There's a famous line in there, but it might be a bit shirky, and so I don't think I'll.
Mogambo.
No, he's on about Kali thingy.
What's that guy? Remember, was it called Mr. India? Remember Mr. India? That film?
I think so, yeah.
Remember that one?
The one that had the invisible
He goes
thing.
invisible. He wears a bracelet.
Yeah, I remember that.
Remember that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, remember that guy? He was that same actor, wasn't he?
I'm miskeen when it comes to
Mogambo.
films compared to you guys, man.
Yeah. You're on about the same person.
Same
What's his
actor.
name? Amresh Puri.
Yeah.
Amresh
Did
Puri.
you hear about the Indian actors dying this week?
Yeah, 2 famous ones died, I think.
Yeah.
One of them was a Muslim. The other one was... I
Not
can't remember the other one's name.
Rishi.
Oh, I don't know nothing about Indian movies. What was his name? Rishi?
I'm on a WhatsApp group. Look, I'm reading the group at the moment.
Allah. They made a WhatsApp group just for the 2 actors. Subhanallah.
His name was.
Gujarati is staying up to date, mashallah.
His name was
right.
Rishi Kapoor.
Okay, yeah. So these were like, I mean,
No
I
one
think a
danced
lot of
around
people have
trees with
attachment.
jumpers like him.
Hmm?
Now, if somebody wrote, there's no one ever who will dance around in trees in winter jumpers like him.
Like me.
No, like Rishi.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Rishi, yeah.
Okay, so let's have a check. So they're saying, so that's why when you said magarmach.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what came to my mind. Crocodiles, man, crazy, yeah.
I heard there's some really funny places in Pakistan. There's a place where I think there's a darbar or something for a guy called Nanga Baba. And this guy's basically wears a dhoti or something, and it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, I heard of that. There's quite a few kind of over there. I think a lot of people take advantage of the vulnerable.
Yeah.
There's a lot of vulnerable people there who trying to, maybe sort some problems out in their family or finance, and they just see some guy's got his hand up in the air for 15 years. And I think this guy has to be, close to Allah. Who else would have their hand up in the air for 15 years?
His house is on top of the hill, so technically he's closer to Allah. Let's go to him.
Yeah,
MashaAllah.
definitely.
Such logic, bro.
I'll say, look at that.
Asked us, what's the point? What is the subject of the show today?
Oh yeah, so subject of the show, Naveed, you can say it. if you remember.
I think I got the memo late. I think the subject of the show is how to stay motivated during this lockdown period in Ramadan. Correct?
Yeah. So how to stay motivated? Okay, so what we'll do a round. Yeah, let's do a round.
Go on.
Right. How do you stay motivated, Altaf?
To be fair, because this Ramadan is quite different for me. It's my first one in probably 4 or 5 years that I've got to spend at home, and I've not had to be too worried about work and stuff. So for me to be motivated is quite easy because, I get to do things and read more Quran, read more books that I didn't get to do in previous Ramadans, and it feels like a Ramadan before I joined the sector, the charity sector. So for me to stay motivated, I just remember, all the opportunities that I didn't get over the last few years, and I kind of take as much advantage as possible. But I have some rules about what I want to accomplish in each day. So like I have a minimum amount of things I want to read, I have a minimum amount of things I want to do, and I try to get those done as early in the day as possible, so that the rest of the day I can try to kind of add to it if possible.
The encyclopedia, you mean?
Not Quran, man.
So like, do you get motivated in Ramadan because you set yourself goals, or is it just something you're naturally motivated, or is it because the lack of sort of like religious environment that you have outside of Ramadan, workplace and all that? You think that is?
No comment. No comment. Let's carry on.
I wonder where I work, Kunav.
Allah Akbar. I wonder what it's
No, seriously.
It's all in the name.
I've heard people say this to me, that because they're working all day in offices and it's not very sort of like Islamic sort of like ethos and theme.
Do you know what he works for?
Yeah, no,
Is he the imam? Is he the imam of the local mosque?
Nah, so I get what you're saying in terms of like, I think it's more the case of just being able to hold the mushaf more than you normally would, and because you're fasting as well, I think it's that constant remembering of Allah. That I'm not saying you sit here and remember Allah all the time. I'm not saying like that. But I'm saying more like kind of you're more conscious about how you use your time. And to be honest, I find the last hour of the fast really hard. Because I hate waiting for iftar time, so I just engross myself in reading as much as I can.
Alhamdulillah.
As it helps me get through.
So what's your normal sort of like amount that you read a day in Ramadan?
I try to read minimum of 20 pages.
MashaAllah, it's about a juz, huh?
Yeah, just 20, whatever the number is on the page. I try to read 20 by midday, and if I get any time during the rest of the day, then I'll read a bit more if I can.
Alhamdulillah. Nav?
Yeah, thank you for saying the bar so high, Altaf.
If you do think that's a high bar, this is a
you
low.
say like I read 20 Qurans a day.
Mine's to be honest with you, my story's a bit similar to Altaf's, where I've been in the charity sector for the past 4 or 5 years as well, and in Ramadan we're usually doing mosque collections and all sorts basically, and if that or a TV appeal, you're always on the road basically, and you don't get to spend a lot of time. I don't think in the past 4 or 5 years I've never like stayed in one masjid and like read the Quran completely like behind the imam or anything like that. I really thought that this might be the year that I get to do that because my job role changed as well. I don't work in fundraising anymore.
Okay.
And subhanallah, Allah will something else. We're at home at the moment. To be honest with you, Mufti Saab, like I pray really, really late, even Taraweeh, like, and Isha, I pray like about 12:1 in the morning, like.
Whoa.
Just to be on the safe side, because obviously I follow a certain timetable anyway. So, and in terms of motivation, at home I find it a bit difficult. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I do pop into the office. Obviously, we've got an office which is walking distance from my house, so I'll pop in there. There, alhamdulillah, we just have the Quran playing in the background just to bounce off one of the other brothers. And when you're working within a charitable organization, you're always talking about zakat, sadaqah, donations, stuff like that. So keeps the momentum going.
Oh, is that why you were laughing, yeah?
Yeah. When you're saying, work takes you away from the deen, I was like, oh, okay. And alhamdulillah, you just keep busy. In terms of Quran, I don't have a fixed amount. Like Altaf, he reads 20 pages. I'll be honest with you, whatever's there, whatever I can read between the different time periods. I know I read a lot more Quran in Ramadan. It's a constant reminder of how little Quran, I pray outside Ramadan.
Mm.
So there's a feeling of guilt that I carry on a day-to-day basis, and I think it happens to a lot of people. When we get towards the last 10 days, you think that the first 10 days were I could have done this, I could have done that.
Mm.
So
Actually, got a question here. This is from Yasin from South Africa. Charity work can be quite psychologically draining, according to some people. How do you deal with that? That was South African, yeah. By the way, before you think it was Scottish or something.
It sounds
No
like
offense to Yasin. So go on.
So it can be psychologically quite draining. Yeah, it is. I think it is draining on people. And I think that it can be, but I think you're kind of like always motivated by the fact that you're helping the beneficiary.
Mm.
So you always got that in mind. But I think kind of like it does toy with you, that you're helping somebody else, but at the same time you feel almost a guilt that you feel like you're not connecting yourself with your deen, and you feel like you're being the glue for everybody else to do a part of their religion, but you're not doing a part of yours. You always feel a bit of that guilt. But I think psychologically, I kind of like, people burn out more, Mufti Sahib, in Ramadan. Like by the last 10 days in the charity sector, I some people, and I don't know if I'm speaking for myself, but I would count down the days of Ramadan sometimes, right?
Okay.
Just to get to the end. Like once you get to the last 10 days, generally you're not that busy because there's not much you can impact on. Now, you might attend a few events here and there, but you're really counting down those first 20 days.
Okay. Oh, you guys work quite hard in Ramadan, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ramadan is like really, because I remember sometimes I have to give talks for charities, and the amount of work these guys do. Yeah. MashaAllah. I gotta give it to you guys, man. I gotta praise it in your face. I gotta praise you in your faces.
Count it down.
Pardon?
Did you feel like you were counting it down?
Past couple of years, yes. If I'm totally honest with you, but I was grateful when I did get a chance to stay in Birmingham. I prayed at Amana Masjid, and Amana is a nice place. Like I mentioned in the podcast previously as well, there was a lot of imams from different schools of thought that came together, and we used to just congregate after the salah and have a little cup of tea, and it was nice to catch up with everyone, where people would leave their masjid or they'll have a day off where they're the imam and they'd come and pray at Amana. So it was really nice. But to answer the brother from South Africa's question, the psychological thing, it does have an impact on you. Obviously, if you're dealing with people all the time, if you're dealing with numbers all the time, whether that be in fundraising or programs, eventually, I can't speak for everyone, but there can be some level of desensitization, and it just becomes stats and figures. So one thing that alhamdulillah I've been blessed with was to be able to go out in the field a lot, and I think that makes a huge impact. You realize what you're doing, why you're doing it. A lot of the time when we watch TV and you see like one of these adverts on TV, predominantly Oxfam or something like that, and you see the child starving in Africa with the flies all over their face and stuff like that, and then you realize, you see it all the time, and it's always in the back of your mind, but you're kind of almost immune to it. But when you actually go out to Africa and you realize that the person that they've actually shown, they're a Muslim and they're struggling, and then what other religions and organizations are doing out there, and like taking advantage of people and stuff like that, and then you feel it, and that motivates you. So alhamdulillah, I think it's a bit of give and take. It's an eye opener, but at the same time there's definitely psychological damage. Like when somebody says to you, holds onto your hands and saying, "Oh, please don't forget about me when you go back to England," even though you know that you're looking after like thousands of beneficiaries, that person's dua or the plea that they made to you, that sticks. You can't forget about that. Then we've sat with people that have literally had to bury their children and things like that, and it is a bit much, Mufti Sahib. Sometimes you do have to come back and just put your head down and you be grateful for everything. For most people, things like that we've got a luxury. Like when you talk to someone about like we've got 2 taps, cold water, hot water, and they're baffled. They're like, huh? Like you don't have to walk to get your water. And when you just hear stuff like that, it humbles you.
So is it more like, is it a more iman booster, or is it a more kind of like a sense of appreciation that you have, or is it both when you're in that situation?
It's a bit of both. I think one of the biggest advantages I've had now, like working within the sector, is I've learned to distinguish between a need and a want. all my life I've thought I've needed this and I needed that, but reality is I don't need it. I want it.
Okay.
And even certain things like when you look at zakat as like holistically, and traditionally we've just thought like, zakat is just for fuqara and miskin, but when you travel the world and you see all of the other problems and economical problems that countries face, you realize why Allah's actually given the 8 categories, why there is that leeway. So seeing it firsthand, it is a real iman booster. There's certain things you can only, like, hearing about the companions is one thing. When I went to places like in Uganda and I've seen people sleeping on the straw mats, and we're here with thick mattresses and memory foam pillows, and we struggle to sleep, and they're sleeping under the stars, on the mitti. And then you think like the companions, they lived like this. So it's sometimes it can help you understand your religion a lot more, traveling, especially to the more deprived parts of the world, I'd say.
Yeah. Subhanallah.
Sorry,
I mean,
brothers are probably thinking about to start a fundraiser.
No, actually, the one thing here I think is important is what you just mentioned about maybe this is something that maybe in the future, charity organization look into, which is the having some sort of is there another word of PTSD? Something for like people who actually see war-stricken areas and the impact it has on them. I think psychologically it would definitely,
I think it's similar to what they call offloading, and where you're able to where even those who work in certain areas and certain fields are able to have conversations with people and therapists and stuff, just to kind of like make sure that they're okay. And I think that we don't do enough of that. I think we're all in this kind of crazy world where we're chasing that 100% donation and efficiencies and effectiveness and all the rest of that good stuff. And I think that this kind of stuff really does get left out. So like, the psychological trauma that it causes people, and for fundraisers, it's the burnout that it causes them. The amount of burnout that it causes through through lots of young people that work within various different charities, they just get burnt out.
And although, sorry to interrupt you there, I think, with donor culture, sometimes it dictates the kind of work you're doing. Sometimes because of people's giving habits, you're only restricted to the kind of help that you can provide. Like we know in certain places, like there's a need to build toilets, for instance, and sanitation programs, wash programs. But because of X, Y, and Z fundraiser that's always getting up and saying, "Oh, we need the food packs, we need this, and we need that, and this is what you need to give for, and this is also zakat eligible, and this is what's being promoted to you." Naturally, you assume that I'm always, whenever I give my money, I'm gonna have to give it towards this because this is gonna be the maximum reward. Now you're talking about, the food is gonna I'm gonna give someone food and they're gonna open their fast with it. How about you build them the toilet and they can actually do the tahara and they can do all the the other fasting's 1 month, yeah. What about everything else? What about their basic salah? What about their basic tahara? And just because sometimes things ain't zakat eligible traditionally, I think sometimes we move away from that. So donor culture has kind of dictated the kind of help that we can do. Sometimes we won't do what's necessarily beneficial for the beneficiary. We end up doing what the donor wants done. I think that's.
But sorry to interrupt you there. The thing I personally think, look, it's going to be difficult to cater for all the needs out there, and it makes sense that if you're an organization, there's a limited number of projects that you can work on, so you won't be able to cater for all the needs unless you I don't know, because I remember I was speaking to one guy and he was saying, in some places giving them cash is better than giving them an alternative, but in some places giving the alternative is better than cash, because they basically can't do anything with the cash.
Exactly. If our economy is destroyed, what good is the cash mufti sahab?
So do you think, maybe we're going too much into this, maybe we should change topic or something, but maybe something to think about in the future is something like maybe having some sort of like studies being done in charity work from an Islamic point of view.
In some places giving them
was that double sound there?
I think I'll definitely say Mufti Sahib. I definitely think more ulama should get involved. More scholars, more da'is, more imams, people like that need to get involved with the sector.
As in to encourage the giving?
Not to even encourage the giving is one side. Alhamdulillah, there's a lot of people, that are involved with dawah, they're involved with fundraising and stuff like that. I mean, in the other aspects, in the delivery aspect, to make sure like they go through an organization, find out what technically is zakat applicable, going out there, seeing that, like, obviously giving food is one thing, but the dawah out there, other little aspects, they need to get involved with other things, other than fundraising. That's my personal opinion. You've alhamdulillah had that. You've had the chance to do that, Mufti Saab, and you've seen the impact.
The reason I'm saying it is because sometimes when you see how the organizations are working, like I was very shocked. I was very shocked to see it. Certain charity organizations have no idea how zakat works.
Yeah.
As in, from a real fiqh point of view, they have no idea application of zakat. They don't know the basic rules of zakat. Like once I gave a presentation for about 6 or 7 of a particular charity organization, and even the main kind of guys, trustees, they were asking basic questions that are like taught in the books of fiqh.
Yeah.
So it seems as though the charity organization itself, I think for future, maybe needs to be sort of like well organized.
Yeah.
From like a fiqh point of view as well.
Of course.
Yeah.
Even as a tarbiyah, if like let's just say in an Islamic institute.
Oh, sorry, 1 second. So just anyone's asking questions off the topic, we're not really going to be answering those. So Mahbub Shah is asking a question. So if you can leave that question to when we have live stream for Q&As on Saturdays, we're going to be answering fiqh questions on Saturdays, but not in these podcasts. So on the podcast, we're going to try to stick to the topic, the theme, inshallah. So yeah, sorry, carry on.
I think, speaking of the topic, I think we should go back to the original topic, inshallah.
Motivation.
Charity, alhamdulillah. Obviously, me and Altaf, that's our job.
I think it's good because people, Brother Altaf's got lots of experience with charity organizations. So have you, Naveed. And I've kind of like worked on and off with them, giving talks and things like that, presentations. I think that's where I think people assume like scholars are automatically motivated for everything. They have this mindset that anyone's working with under any sort of a religious banner, they're automatically motivated, and you expect them to be motivated. And so if they slip up, right, automatically people start, asking the questions. How comes these guys are not, doing it like they're supposed to be doing it? What's wrong with them? Why is this? Does that make sense? So I think that is also part of the motivation itself. Like, what is motivation? What does it mean to motivate? Like, I'll give you an example. One day, Imam Malik, there was a guy that came to Imam Malik, and I mentioned this many times, and he said to Imam Malik, he scolded him, and he said, in the mosque, you're always kind of narrating hadith regarding jihad and regarding fasting and regarding tahajjud and regarding all these things. But how comes you yourself, I've never seen you go for jihad, fighting in the battle. I've never seen you like fast extra days. I've never seen you like, spend all night in tahajjud and all that. But you narrate the hadith in the mosque. So Imam Malik, he said that, look, just like Allah gives rizq, sustenance to different people in different ways, Allah, He inspires people to do actions. So certain people are motivated in action, but they will be like total, inexperienced in other areas. Like, for example, in charity work, you'll see some guys, maybe I won't mention names, but these guys are like the leaders of charity work. They're always flying around. They're always working hard. They're always, doing all the work. And then, but maybe if you ask them, do you fast on Mondays and Thursdays? But they say, we can't do that. We're not good at that. Or maybe I'm not good at getting up for tahajjud. Or, I'm not good at praying extra nafal. Whereas you might get someone who's really good at getting up for tahajjud, but when it comes to charity work, they can't do it. They can't last a day in there. So Imam Malik was saying to this guy, look, I am experienced in teaching and learning, and I believe this is the thing that Allah has inspired me to do. So he kind of like, that's his motivation. So maybe in the same thing in Ramadan, we have these kind of like certain things. Like sometimes you hear some people say, I read, 4 Qurans, and you're thinking, 4 Qurans? How do you 4 Qurans? Like, where do you get the time for 4 Qurans? My mother, when I went for Hajj with my mum, she used to do about 10 tawafs a day. So when she came back to the room at night time, she in the morning, basically Fajr time, after Fajr, we'd have breakfast together, me, my mum, my sister. And then my mum used to say, give me some kujur, give us some dates. And then she'd go in the mosque and all day just there with a kujur. And I said, what do you do there? She goes, I do tawafs for everyone. So-and-so told me to do tawaf for them. So-and-so told me to do tawaf for them. Do you want to do one for you as well? So she used to have this whole list of people that she's promised that she's going to do tawafs for them. And I used to get to do just about 1 tawaf in the whole day. And I was tired. So I used to think to myself, look, my mum is so motivated in this. But my mum couldn't read Quran. She was learning Alif Ba at that time. So she said one day, she said, I was doing tawaf and I saw this lady sitting on the side. And, she was reading Quran. I sat with her and I got my qaida out. She's reading Quran. I got my qaida out and she was like, alif, ba, ta. And she goes, the lady sat next to me and said, I'll listen to you. It's okay. So every day I used to go to her and I used to read to her. And she would like teach me. So, motivation in certain things, you see it, I think, in different people. But this time when we went Umrah, about 2 or 3 years ago, I think, after nearly every salat, I would do tawaf. And the way I used to do it was, and this is how I used to get motivation. What I did was, on my phone, I downloaded lots of audiobooks. Not novels and things like that.
Harry Potter.
Not Harry Potter and,
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. Yeah, or what's his name, Mr. India, or what's the other one?
Rishi.
Yeah, not those. Islamic books, whole Quran and stuff like that. So I actually got to cover, like, there was a book called Zad al-Ma'ad, which is about 5 volumes. I had to cover 3 volumes of it, just by putting in my ears, and doing tawaf, listening to that, and now and again doing some dhikr when I was doing tawaf, and I used to get a lot done. So I think it's motivation also is in how you kind of go about things as well. It's not just something like, you expect someone to be motivated. That's wrong.
Yeah.
It's like the Prophet ﷺ, when he struck the rock and he gave the Sahaba motivation, you can imagine that, how the Prophet ﷺ saw that the Sahaba were losing motivation. Like, you're in a situation, Battle of Khandaq, you hardly have any clothes, you hardly have any proper shoes. You're told to dig a big, ditch that's so long.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're losing all hope. Munafiqs are laughing at you, saying, look, this guy's making us go astray, wasting our time. So it's like, I think these kind of small little sort of like self-motivating reminders that you have. One is a scholar gives you a reminder. I think that's good. One, I think you need to have your own self-reminder. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Sometimes reminders can come from, or motivation comes from places you don't really expect it either.
Yep.
In the sense that I could listen to a lecture and not feel nothing, to be honest with you. And then something that my friend who works with me, alhamdulillah, he said one little thing, and we were in the masjid, and there was a really elderly man praying, and he goes, bro, imagine Allah loves you so much here, bro, that you're 80, 90 like that guy over there, and you're still able to do sujood. And I was just there, baffled and thinking, yo, wow, Allah must really love this person. He's 80, 90, he's doing sujood. I know he's going down before, if the Imam started speaking about it. Imagine being that age, yeah.
What were you doing watching him but he went down before the Imam?
Yeah, were you in Salata?
He was praying his Nafal, brother. What's in the then, bro?
Behind the Imam?
No.
You're digging it deeper, bro. You're digging it deeper.
Thank you, literalist. Yeah. But Mufti Saab, do you know what I mean? Little things like that.
I'll tell you something, tawaf motivation. Someone says something, slave of, what is it? Rijwan Rahman is saying, done tawaf with a puffer jacket, whatever that is, was the most stupid idea. I don't know what puffer jacket is, bro, but it sounds...
Puffer jacket.
Puffer jacket.
Naf jacket, Naf coat jacket, Mufti Saab.
Or is it like the guys on the street, hanging around with a big massive in the summer?
Altaf, don't make me start talking about your big red jacket, okay?
Which one's that?
Big red one?
I'm sure you had a big red... No, it was a red hoodie that you never used to take off.
Love that hoodie. Still do.
You look like a burnt tomato.
Still do.
Which one's that?
Don't...
A red Nike hoodie.
Remind me, Mufti Saab. He's going to pull it out again.
Okay. So, anyway, basically, let me tell you this. So, what happened was, the first time I went for Hajj. So, there was this guy from London, yeah. He was from Wembley. And he goes to me, come on, let's do tawaf. So, we went to tawaf. And it was packed out downstairs. And I got sinus problems. So I can't do tawaf in a stuffy place. So I said, let's go on the top roof. Yeah, top roof is massive and it takes ages. So we're doing tawaf. And this all of a sudden, from the back, someone pushes me. And then I turn and this guy, he's running in front of me, turns around at me and he like sniggers at me. And then he just like runs and then he's doing this. I'm thinking, what's this guy crazy? What's this guy be smoking? Like I thought this guy like tapped. Like sometimes in Hajj you see some people who are not all there. Yeah. So I thought this guy's mad, and then he kept on going to me. So he's like wearing this Moroccan Moroccan thobe, yeah, and he's doing this. Come on. So my friend goes to me. He wants to race you, and the guy that was with me, he was even more tapped. Yeah. He goes, come on. let's run. So I was thinking, right, okay, come on, let's just do a little like a brisk run.
Yeah. Let's have a sprint.
It's not a sprint, but like a brisk thing, in masjid. You don't want to kind of, you don't Usain Bolt in the masjid. So I started running. Then what happens is he slows down deliberately for me to tag him. This guy. So it's a game basically. So I go, okay, I tagged him and I ran past him. Then this guy's chasing me, like really fast chasing me, and I'm running. And because it's quite empty upstairs, no one's really bothered.
Yeah.
He tags me, then he runs past me, and we actually done about 3 or 4 tawafs like this. Like properly like running
like
all the
this?
way around. Yeah, this guy, like, Usain Bolt's, I don't know, dad or...
Bolt celebration like that.
Are there any refutations pending? Read the comments, guys.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, my tawaf is done, yeah.
Mashallah, mashallah.
But yeah, I didn't do after that. I did tawbah. I thought, astaghfirullah, man, in the house of Allah, running around like this. Sounds a bit jahiliyyah, man, what they would do there.
SubhanAllah.
I think what else motivates you, bro? You've been awfully quiet today, or maybe I've just been rambling on.
Do you know what it
Slave
is?
of Allah is saying, Naveed, do a rap.
Yeah, man. Boss a rap now.
What's a rap? I'll do it at the end. How about that, inshallah? Stay tuned and I'll do it at the end.
Okay, Usman R is saying...
Don't do an old Tupac song there,
Let me say this. Motivation is a myth for long-term goals. We should delete it from our vocabulary. Short-term is useful to give you a little boost. Ultimately, you need discipline or habits. Okay. I mean, he's got a point.
Refutation pending.
Always a refutation pending. I think with motivation, Nav, it kind of like differs, and it depends where you are at that moment in time as well. It does a lot of it matters about where you are personally at that moment in time. So sometimes, like you're saying that that brother's reminder really hit you, but you're at a space where you're around scholars all the time. So like their bayans and stuff, you're not really focused into or tuned into. You're like looking at the peripheral stuff. Like if you're doing an event, you're worried about other things.
Yeah.
So you're not really like keyed into the scholars' talk, but then you'll be motivated by something they say afterwards. But I think the thing that probably motivates me is just trying to be better than you were the day before. Every other day. So every day you wake up and you're trying to be slightly better than you did the day before. And I think that's one of the things I learned from Ramadan and having a bad Ramadan, where where your first couple of days just go. And you get to like day 8, 9, 10, right? And everybody in your family has read like 45 Qurans, and you're still on Alif Lam Mim, and you're thinking to yourself, Surah Baqarah still, I'm way behind everybody. And at that point, sometimes you give up. And there's been Ramadans where you kind of like just give up on trying to read your entire Quran or trying to read as much Quran as possible, and then you start to kind of like go on to other stuff. And I did that a couple of times, and I realized that I was doing that. And so what I try to do now is just that every day you just start fresh again. And whatever your target is for that day, that's all it is. You don't have a target for the month. You just have a target for the day. So every day what you're trying to do is trying to do your target in whatever amal you've got to do, or whatever kind of like things that you got set to do. Because I have my religious stuff that I'm trying to do, but then I also have my like studying and stuff that I'm trying to do as well at the same time. So I'm trying to balance both of it. But every day you just wake up and you try to do better than you did yesterday.
So would you say there's an element of sort of like emotional blackmail, a subtle emotional blackmail? So do you feel emotionally blackmailed?
I used to before, like compared to other people, that you're hearing how much they read and compared to you. At that time I did, but now I just compare myself to myself and just try to be better than I can the day before. I think only competing with others is like really tough sometimes. Especially like when I competed with my gran once, and she read 6 Qurans in Ramadan, and I was on like, I thought I was doing well. I was like finishing my first one on like the 18th, 19th day. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm quite ahead of it. And she was like, I'm on number 6 now, and I was like, all right, forget it. She just demoralizes you.
Yeah, grandmas are quite good. Can't mess with grandmas. Grandmas and Quran and Tahajjud, these guys kill it.
My grand, mashallah, she used to fast like in the months leading up to Ramadan as well, like intensely. So it wasn't worth competing with her. So
actually, generally women are better than men in fasting.
My wife's in the room, Mufti Saab, please.
I mean, no, seriously, this is something actually I've heard from a lot of people. that women generally are more sort of like they're more was it
Already, it's
tuned
true.
in
It's true.
tuned into fasting more their bodies and like they kind of like can do it. And for men, I mean, personally, extra fasting that people do in the year, I find it very hard. The reason I
It's
find it
tough.
hard is not because doing it, is being able to do my other things with the fast. Ramadan is okay. Maybe because in Ramadan there's barakah and the special month and all that makes it easy for you. But outside of Ramadan, like extra fast that people do on Mondays and I used to have a friend in Pakistan in madrasa. The guy nearly every Monday and Thursday used to fast without, and this guy was from Uganda. Yeah, Africans are very good at it, very
Shoulders.
good. These guys are next level, man. Yeah, I don't know if any Africans are watching at the moment. You tell us, you guys are just next level when it comes to fasting. Yeah, and these are I mean, the guy used to just like fast and then get up early in the morning and tahajjud. Right, the guy used to pray tahajjud regularly. He's telling me sometimes as well. Get up. I told you about that other guy, any Tunisian guy.
Yeah.
Tunisian guy, I tell you, man, he used to just kind of read the Quran right in front of me, loud. So in the morning, I go to him, please, can you pray at the tahajjud quietly? He goes, no, it's to wake you up. It's to dispel the shaitan from you. And I'm thinking, I got class in the morning, I got to study and all that, and if I get up, for the tahajjud for like half an hour every single day, I'm gonna get tired. Yeah, let me worship Allah in my own way. And this guy was like, no, you have to do like this. And so I think you're right. Sometimes when you see these other people that are ahead of you, in doing ibadat, I sometimes feel a bit like, in a subtle way, emotionally blackmailed. Like I feel guilty inside that, how come I'm not doing it like this? How come I'm not reading this much? Yeah, and obviously everyone's different. Everyone's
You're not competing with everybody in it, and I think that once you take that out of your psyche, that you're not having to compete with them, and that you're just competing with trying to be the best that you can be. I think that kind of sometimes helps. Like at the moment, it's helping motivate me. Maybe later on, something else will work. I'm not sure.
But just to flip that upside down, sorry. Sometimes somebody could be doing on paper it seems like less about that.
Yeah, actually, look at this. Bilal Nuhu is saying, you're right, I'm from Ghana, and it's really common to see people fasting Mondays and Thursdays. Look at that. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
What I meant was, say for instance, I know some people that have accepted Islam recently, and they're not reading as much Quran as like us guys, but they're just like reading it with English, and they're just like following transliteration. I'm looking at these guys and getting motivated, even though they're not reading as much as me. Just knowing that what they're reading is probably impacting them more than it's impacting me. Does that make sense, Mufti?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Because it does happen in it where you get different types of people, and they get motivated to different levels. And I think that makes a big difference. Especially like when you see sometimes people that are trying. You're always taken back by people that are trying in it.
Where it's kind of toxic. I think motivation is very good, but where it can become toxic is people who suffer from OCD. Motivation becomes very problematic for them. So sometimes you have some people maybe who suffer from OCD. They have to be very perfect, right? And how they do things and how they read. Sometimes you pray in salat, and the guy next to you, he's trying to pronounce his at-tahiyyat like really kind of accurately. Yeah, and he keeps saying, and you're getting irritated. So there's some people who kind of like, for them, motivation. Like I remember this one guy, he used to come to my lessons, and the guy stopped coming. So I said to him, why did he stop coming? He goes, every time you say things in the lesson, I try to do it, and then I feel I can't do it properly, and then I feel depressed. So sometimes you get some people out there who are like that. Like obviously motivation is a mental state, and you are going to get people out there who are going to. And look at the Sahabi. Remember the Sahabi Handala radiallahu anhu, where the Prophet ﷺ, he comes to the Prophet crying, and he says to the Prophet ﷺ, Messenger of Allah, I'm munafiq. And the Prophet says, what's happened? He goes, every time I am sitting in your gatherings, I feel so motivated and spiritual, and tears come to my eyes. When I go home, I forget all about you. Yeah, and he felt bad inside. He felt guilty inside. And the Prophet ﷺ had to reassure him and say to him, look, this feeling is only now and again you get it. Like, don't aim for that feeling all the time. It's like peaks and troughs. The Iman peaks and troughs. And he goes, if you had this state all the time, the angels would have come to you and given you, your salams on the street. So sometimes, that's the good thing about the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. It's very balanced. It's like extremely balanced. Like sometimes you think to yourself, like you hear a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, and his approach to the deen was just like very, very amazing. Like it's not like a motivation speaker we have today, where every time you think of that motivation speaker, all you can think of is mouth opening and him shouting. Yeah, like you never imagine this motivation speaker smiling and sitting with people and laughing and joking, and you always see that kind of like general kind of approach. And but the Prophet ﷺ wasn't like that. So like this was one incident with the Sahabi, and there's also other incidents where like a Bedouin came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, Messenger of Allah, he said, are you the one that's telling people you only have to pray five times a day, and if you pray 5 times a day you'll go Jannah? He goes, yeah. He goes, that's it. I'm not going to do more than 5 times. Okay, I don't care. I'm just going to do 5, no more, no less. And then he walked off. And then the Prophet ﷺ said to the Sahaba, this guy is true in what he's saying, he's going Jannah. Yeah. And we'd be thinking, well, wait a minute, where are the sunnahs and all the nafals and all the this and all that?
Yeah.
So the muhaddithin say that this is him acting upon the deen, as in it's his sort of like path that he's taking up. So it was very sort of like tailored to everyone. Everyone's, that we were talking about last time about the dhikrs, adhkars that people have. And this is another thing, like having a sheikh, a peer, a mentor. The idea of having it is more of a motivational thing. You have your personal trainer, and then you kind of like if you have a good strict personal trainer, you yourself feel you have to do everything he tells you. And it's like more than you like kind of like self-motivating yourself. It's more about the results. Yeah, you're after the results. So as long as you follow your mentor, you're going to get those results. And motivation is like secondary.
On the subject of motivation and speakers in general, is there anyone that in the modern era? I know you probably listen to a lot more Arabic and stuff like that than me and Altaf. Is there anyone that you've taken a liking to?
Wait! What are you trying to say?
You listen to Quran, don't you? You listen to Imam.
Listen to more Arabic, bro. Yeah, I always listen to things I don't understand.
Nothing to be proud of, mate.
I tell you what happened once. Yeah, I was in Pakistan.
Yeah.
So I went to my relative's house. So I got into the bus, right? Sit on the bus, and I sit at the back. I sit down. This guy looks at me and says to me, in Arabic, yeah, I got into a random bus, and a guy who's disheveled, like tatty, dirty, black marks on his face, as though he's been working like in a garage. Yeah, hands all like, so he's basically looked like he's someone off the street. And he goes to me, in Arabic, he said to me, أنت طالب العلم? In Arabic, proper Arabic he's speaking. And I looked at him and go, Naam, yeah. And then he had a full conversation with me all the way, right? About 20-minute drive. Full conversation about his situation. And basically, the guy's an Arab, yeah, who came to Pakistan for whatever reason he came for in them days. And then it didn't work out. So what basically happened was he had to disguise himself as a druggie, but he got addicted to drugs. Yeah, he got addicted to the problem. So this guy, he's like heroin addict. He's on the streets. He knows Arabic properly. His mind is sane, and he was just saying, "Make dua for me that I can get back home. I'm from Mecca." He goes, "I'm born and brought up in Mecca." And this guy, if you see him on the street, missing teeth, and like the proper like junkie kind of, like shaking and all that. And I just didn't. I thought he was maybe a spy or something, just trying to spy on me, see what I was gonna say. But when I saw that kind of thing, I was thinking to myself, you know what? Never judge a book by its cover, man. You don't know, who that is. And then he goes to me, give my salams to your headmaster of your madrasa, your head teacher. I know him. And then I just left him there.
I think Mufti, we have got a question on motivation on Facebook. Somebody's asked the question. Safwan has. Doesn't comparing yourself to yourself lead to complacency? So it's a good question. I don't think it does, as long as you have like a good minimum standard. Like if you have a good minimum standard, then you can always kind of grow from there. Like you would know that on average, like reading, half a juz, 1 juz a day is a good standard to be at. So as a minimum. So if you can get to that kind of standard, then you're all right. So I don't think you get complacent from it. But the other question I had was, Nav, for you in like generally, like you are around a lot of different speakers. Is there any one particular speaker that you listen to that you think, okay, you know what, they've perked an idea up in your mind, or they've motivated you to do something? Not that it sounded good and you've enjoyed the talk,
Yeah.
but you've actually gone out and done something afterwards. And the same
Wait a
thing.
minute, Naveed, have you done something to your hair?
What you mean color?
It looks.
No.
It looks.
Notice how all that influencer oil is getting.
Amla oil.
Dabla Amla.
He's an influencer.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Maybe
Oh,
it's Maybelline.
Almost long enough to do that.
Is that the halal version? Remember, have you seen the advert? There's an advert, yeah, a Malaysian woman, and she's
With the hijab.
Yeah.
Shampoo advert.
she's got
Well,
hijab
can't
on. She's taking a
you look
shower
now?
with a hijab on and shampoo. You gotta give it to them. They're trying to keep you halal.
That's smart. That's
I
smart.
thought you just put hijab in the wash, but never mind. Nav, Waqas is saying cheer up.
Yeah, go on. So what were you gonna say?
So I was asking the question: what speaker motivates you to do something rather than just sounds good? Both of you, Musab.
Me, I would say, the speaker that kind of brings you to tears. That's the one that has the most impact on me. For some reason.
Like what? Like, did you have a type of speaker or a person or a name? Musab, give us a name, man.
Okay, so let me think. Sheikh Naveed Ahmed.
MashaAllah.
Sometimes like poetry. Like poetry has a big impact, I would say. So sometimes if you hear the right poetry with the right nasheeds in the background. The ones that sound like musical instruments. At the beginning they say
MashaAllah.
no musical instruments were used for this.
This is really halal. Kasme is halal.
Sometimes you don't even need to say anything, my brothers and sisters. Just play this in the background, and it is enough to motivate the likes of many.
You know what?
Anyway.
Guess what? My mom sent me something the other day. Yeah.
That's too good.
It's a guy in India, some Hindu like guru, and he's talking about the Prophet ﷺ, and it's got a nasheed in the background. Yeah, and it just seems so emotional. And you're thinking this is a.
He's there talking about Guru Shankar, everything.
I don't know, man. He's talking,
Alhamdulillah.
So my, for example, like I would say, there's a few YouTube sort of like poetry sort of. They just read poetry. It's in Arabic.
Okay.
I think that some of those have an impact.
told you
For
it's
me,
gonna be Arabic.
recitation of Quran has the most impact out of all of them. So what I tend to do is on my phone, I've got the whole of Husari,
Yeah.
Sheikh Husari. Yeah, so he's got like the entire Quran. So I've downloaded that onto my phone, and all I do is just put it on, and every time I'm traveling somewhere, just listen to it, and like sometimes the ayah will have an impact on you. It has on me sometimes, and that will be so motivational. But the speakers, I think I'm not too much into these kind of English speakers. Yeah, I'm not too much. I'm into this guy called Liaquat. I don't know if you heard of him. He's got a YouTube channel.
Stay away from him. He's on
Roots of
Facebook.
Knowledge. Roots of Knowledge. He's got a mug as well over here. Yeah.
Everybody says that scholar that comes on YouTube.
He's got a mug there, and he's
stay
not
away
with
from
two
him.
mugs.
They say stay away from that mufti.
The
on
deviant.
Facebook.
The deviant.
Okay, so Husri, Naf,
In terms of reciters, these days I'm
not
listening.
reciters, bro. Speakers
Rather could
first,
be.
then reciters.
Okay. Speakers, alhamdulillah, bro. Been working with speakers and involved in some sort of dawah, so I've met a lot of them. Like all the probably
Come on,
anyone
tell us
that's probably
the last
influential
one.
in the Western world.
The
Do you want me
last
to
one
name
that you
them?
heard.
Recently, I spent a lot of time with Sheikh Bilal Asad, and I got to know him personally. And Allah's tested him in many ways, like even prior to this, but recently he's lost his son and brother in a snowmobile accident in Lebanon. That's one guy that I've met. Like I've met a lot of people, and I'm not trying to put anyone down, but he's one guy is the same online and offline. Like there's no difference. He'll remember your name. He'll sit with you. He'll talk with you about anything and everything, and relay it back to the Prophet ﷺ and the companions, and draw analogies in places you normally wouldn't think about. And that guy, he's had a massive impact on me. And locally, to be honest with you, I'm sure you guys all know him. Obviously, there's Sheikh Zahir. We, alhamdulillah, we're fortunate. Like for us guys, Mufti Saab can obviously call him his friend. Like we will still see him as a mentor or whatnot. But the around the world, he's a very known speaker, and people like message him and talks this and that. We're fortunate enough to have someone like that around, and the good thing about people like Sheikh Zahir and other brothers like even Sheikh Shadi or Suleiman from Australia might not be your cup of tea when it comes to his style of speaking or whatnot. But they say the knowledge of a speaker can be seen within their actions and what the kind of legacy that they build. Look at the institutes that they've created. Look at the organizations that they've built. Look at the outreach work that's originated from places that they've started. So those kind of things that I look at as well, my bro. But powerful, hard-hitting speakers. For some people, like I can't listen to the shouty lectures anymore. To be honest with you, like I'd get more if I've got more inspired by people like Sheikh Yasser Qadi than somebody that'll come and give like a 5-minute bayan and everybody else is crying and I'm sat there.
Is that because with your age, you're starting to change your taste in speakers?
And I think I need more substance now. I think like a lot of people are saying, the 5-minute motivation, you burn out. You need something, the good thing about someone like Sheikh Yasser Qadi, when he'll make a lecture series, he'll stick to a subject and he'll do like 10 or 15 parts on it. And it's very much detailed. You can be that type of person that just listens to it, benefits it at the time, and then, you forget most of it. Or you can sit there with the pen and pad and take down notes and actually, take a lot more from it than, your average Joe. So I think there's a speaker I listen to in South Africa quite a lot called Sheikh Mirza Yawar Beg. I think he's a bit of a don.
Yawar Beg's a don.
Yeah.
He once, I remember he was sitting with, he came to a sufa, and he said this big charity organization in the world, not gonna name it. He said they invited me, so he does these kind of like this what are they, training?
Retreat.
Yeah, management training, isn't it? Leadership training. Yeah. So he said, I sat with them and I said, what's the difference between you and Coca-Cola? And he goes, they're like shocked. What do you mean? Are you us and Coca-Cola? He goes, don't you guys have the same goals as Coca-Cola? You want to dominate the whole sector. Don't you have the same this and a whole list? And at the end of it, we said they couldn't tell the difference between what Coca-Cola is doing and what they were doing. He goes, apart from theirs was just Islamic name. So his aim was basically, he was just basically saying that, look, sometimes what happens is you kind of integrate yourself into a kind of like a mindset. And eventually what happens is you're just doing a capitalist sort of like, stunt with the Islamic name. And eventually it's just not really kind of giving you the Islamic results. It's giving you the capitalist results. And you're kind of like deceiving yourself into thinking this is what we're supposed to be doing as Muslims. This is like the best sort of like action that you can do. He's a good guy, I tell you, man. That guy.
Yeah, he's something else. Another guy that I find phenomenal, alhamdulillah, I've had the chance to meet him, and his brother Sheikh Suleiman Mullah. He's something else as well. But when you sit there and you listen to this guy and the way he narrates poetry and everything, and it's almost like he's got photographic memory or something. He's another good speaker I'll probably come across. I'm just talking about English speakers. That's only what we understand, to be honest with
you. Yeah.
What were you saying about face-off?
Do you know what? I've completely gone off speakers completely. Like I just can't listen to him. It's just like become background noise.
Would you say that in the 30s and the late 30s you start to listen to a different genre of speakers?
He listens to Joe Rogan.
Do you know what? I probably do listen to more Joe Rogan than I do any scholars, to be honest. Like scholarly talks and stuff.
Joe Rogan, he's actually become more sensible now. The way he kind of talks about things. Before, he's really hyped up in the beginning and cursing, and especially against Muslims. But then when that guy, Firaz Zahabi, remember Firaz Zahabi? When Firaz Zahabi came on, his whole thing changed. After Firaz Zahabi, if you look at him, watch him, and the things he says about Islam, totally mellowed down now.
I think the kind of like speakers that I probably might listen to once in a while are like Sheikh Umar Sulaiman,
He's really good, mashallah.
like Numan Ali Khan, that kind of content where you're looking for a little bit more substance. But I love the stuff that from Sheikh Abdul Hakim Murad in the UK. But I think my favorite scholar, he's probably going to kill me for saying this because I don't listen to enough of his talks. But whenever I listen to him, I always smile and I enjoy what he says is Sheikh Suhail Hanif.
Yeah, he's really good.
For me, Sheikh Suhail is just like you can automatically connect with what he's saying.
Yeah.
And you can almost feel what he's saying as well. So I really, really find like what Sheikh Suhail Hanif's talk is really, really good. So whenever he's on like on YouTube or whatever else, I do try to tune in. But I'm lucky enough to know him as also.
Sheikh Suhail.
Altaf, you're more motivated by Islamic football players and stuff like that.
You know, Sheikh Suhail, yeah. I'll tell you, Sheikh Suhail, I mean, you probably know him for fiqh, but this guy has like spent 18 years in Jordan studying with Sheikh Dr. Salah al-Hajj, and even Dr. Salah al-Hajj says that if there's anyone who knows tafsir properly, he goes, one of the guys is Sheikh Suhail. So this guy is like an unknown person, in the UK. People don't really kind of like have that kind of.
Yeah.
So yeah, his temperament's amazing, mashallah, and I really enjoy his. Whenever he gives a discourse, it always connects for me. So that's why I enjoy Sheikh Suhail's talks. But he doesn't do much. I did complain with him last time I saw him, so inshallah I see him do more. Yeah. As a Sheikh man, you need to do more.
Yeah, he's very calm.
But you can see some of his stuff. So if people want to look at his stuff, it's on Cambridge Muslim College because he teaches at CMC. So he's got stuff on there, but he's a teacher to teachers as well. Mashallah.
I study by him. Do
you study by him?
Yeah, I study.
It's fun. So I find him like really inspirational. So I think that kind of genre of scholars, like the ones that you can really connect with, the ones that are going to kind of, you're not looking for anything from them.
Yeah.
Apart from that connection, you're not like looking for answers from them. You're looking at more just for them to give you nasiha.
Yeah.
You can take that, but other ones are like, I can't do shouty ones anymore.
I couldn't do Sheikh Akram Nadwi first, and now I can. Like I can listen to his lectures now. And
was it like Marmite? Once you get used to it, then you like
Marmite. It. Yeah. Because I remember
the one I enjoyed was Mullah Sajjad Nomani.
Yeah, he's good.
He's really good. Yeah, it's in Urdu, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's in Urdu. He did a 4-hour talk on zakat.
I remember that, bro. That was next level.
Yeah.
I haven't had anything on zakat like that, man. I was just like, when I heard it, I was just taken back from it. But he had like 18 years of experience in dealing with it as well, right?
Mufti Saab, has a book ever motivated you? Other than
one second, we got some questions here. Let's quickly just run down these. Tahir is saying perhaps Islamic charities should set up collective depots or department to work with people who have been in war-torn areas to guide and provide psychological support. Yeah. Jet Valentine is saying there's an Arab saying that goes, one who gains everything quickly has gained nothing. Something like that. One must learn the things that take time. This is apparent in many things. Good point. SMB saying yes, lads. Teacher saying, what instrument does Naveed play? Naveed?
What's it called? The triangle?
No, it's not called triangle. Is it called triangle?
What's it called? Or tambourine. You can play the tambourine as well.
No, the triangle, man. It is the triangle.
The triangle. That's a bit too simple.
Yeah. It just got things like that at the end.
Okay, Harun Films is saying don't diss the nasheeds in the background. MP is saying actually studying the deen is motivating more than listening to just Islamic talks. There's more detail and depth in studying. I mean, yeah, definitely some people are going to be looking for that depth. They're going to be, looking for that kind of like, what's the word for it? Satiating sort of like.
What's up? There's a good question on there. Somebody asked, what is your favorite book? Islamic book?
What's my favorite book? Quran, obviously. MashaAllah.
Oh, mashallah. No, I mean like none from God.
It's difficult, and the reason it's difficult because all my subscribers know that I hate favorite questions. Favorite questions is like someone saying to you, "What's your favorite food?" I mean, look, why? There's no such thing as favorite food. Ultimate favorite food.
Excuse me. Sorry.
No. Wait, food analogy, right? Let me finish. There is favorite food in certain situations. Like if it's cold, there's a favorite food. If it's hot, there's a favorite food. If it's midday, it's a favorite food. If
Karele.
Karele is always a favorite food.
Yeah, and ujri.
Already lovely.
Well, what's the book that you find the most inspiring? What about you, Nav?
Let me reiterate that question. Mufti Saab, is there a non-religious book that's motivated you?
Ooh, that's a good
Yes.
one.
Yes.
Go on then. Give us the
It's
name.
not the Bible, is it?
There's actually a book. Have you read Dumbing Us Down?
Dumbing Us Down.
It's basically about this guy. His name is something Gatto. He's an American teacher. And the first time I heard of this book was Sheikh Hamza Yusuf mentioned it many years ago. So I bought it. And it was about how the school system in America is designed to dumb you down. Right?
Okay.
It's all about that. It's really good.
Nav, yourself?
48 Laws of Anomaly, Joe. What was that book that you've been reading, man? Encyclopedia? Was that someone else?
No, somebody else, bro.
I'm just trying to think. That's motivated me.
Or you've enjoyed?
I've enjoyed.
I know the last book you read was probably Spot the Dog or something, like, you know,
It was The Twits by Roald Dahl.
colorful with pictures in there.
I don't know if you can call it a religious book or a well, I really enjoyed Divine Reality. I've read quite a bit of it now, bro, like about a quarter of it. I'm actually really enjoying the book. I wouldn't call it a religious book. It's not, in a form, it's a form of dawah, but it's like a scientific kind of argument, isn't it? So I like reading stuff like that.
Have you read a book called The Alchemist?
No.
I've read some of it.
Yeah, that's quite
I've heard the
motivating, you
album.
know.
I like the translated works of Imam Ghazali, you know, the ones in English. Like,
Okay.
The colourful collection. Yeah.
All right.
Including The Alchemist. But I think my favorite book probably Martin Ling's, man.
Martin Lings.
But it's still a religious kind of
Yeah.
book.
What, the Muhammad, you mean?
Yeah. I just like the way it's written in the style. Is that and the line of the desert.
Oh, is that what's his
And the
name?
South African
Omar.
Seerah. This is South African Seerah.
Okay. Remember that what's his name? Yusuf. Yusuf. Cat Stevens. What's his name? Yusuf. What?
Islam.
Islam. He's that Sirah cassette.
Yeah.
Oh, the
that's
se-
old school.
This-
That was
the-
the first Sirah cassette I heard. Like first about Sirah. That was good, man.
Singing the nasheeds in the background with
Yeah.
stuff.
You know, I actually met him. I tagged along with Sheikh Zahid, to UK RIS, and I met him there, and I was like a bit starstruck, and I was like, "Yo, you're the man." I shook his hand. Bajara's gone old. He gave us a copy of his book. He goes, I think it's called "Why I Picked Up the Guitar Again," but I don't know. I think Sheikh's got copies. It's in Astafa somewhere if anybody wants to read it.
Yeah. You know, a lot of these, I mean, you know, it's sometimes I think of these like kind of like ex-musician / nasheed artist / you know, reborn musician / nasheed. Sometimes I think to myself, I think, you know, it's a big tough test for these guys
Yeah.
to kind of like try to, you know, maybe whether they believe that, you know, musical instruments is not allowed, or whether they take the position of some that say that is allowed. You know, I think it's a very difficult. That's why you find a lot of them inclining towards it. We used to have this guy here in our madrasa. This guy had an excellent voice, and he used to read like the ibarat. So like if it was like a big book like Bukhari or Muslim or something, so sometimes the teacher used to get a student, you read, and when the guy used to read, I tell you, the whole madrasa sometimes would go silent, because the guy used to read like, you know, like one of the imams of the haram. And imagine just listening to a nice tone, continuous tone, you know, unbroken. But the guy was good at singing Bollywood songs as well. So
We go from
God give it
Ibadat
talent.
to Bollywood.
yeah, and it was like, you know, you're thinking to yourself, why you're reading Bukhari in the daytime, and you know, with your mates at tea time, they ask you, go on, sing, you know, Tujhe Dekha, go for it.
Oh yes.
Yeah. And he would like kind of like, you know, go off on one. And sometimes I think, you know, it's very difficult. I used to have an uncle. Well, I still got an uncle. And this uncle, basically, he plays this thing called the rubab. It's like a you know, in the North Pakistan, it's like a little kind of guitar thing. It's like a banjo. Sound like a banjo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it like one of those cartoon ones? They go like this.
But yeah, have you seen? They put one foot on the other, and they
It's
sit
like a
down
sarod.
and
It's
they
a
play
string
this.
instrument, bro. It's
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he's excellent at playing that. Like he's from a young age, he's been like perfecting it. So he started practicing. He went to Tablighi Jamaat. He stopped. So, you know, grew a beard and everything. Then Next minute, you know, I go down to visit my relatives in Pakistan. The guy's there pulls it out. It's not. The guy's asking, please play it for us. Please play it for us. So it's like, you know, it's like that kind of like, you know, that kharish, you know, that kind of kharish you have. Yeah, that kind of like itch.
Musab, got a question for you. Have you watched that YouTube series on Imam Ahmed?
Yeah,
I watched
half of it.
Any good?
Good.
You know, there's some. I did read some reviews on it. They were saying that the storyline, because it's a film, they have to add in extra
Dramatized.
Yeah.
stuff in there, which is not really historically true. So I mean,
Did you guys watch the Umar series?
yeah, that's excellent. That is. I mean, or motivational. I think, you know, this may be a new thing we need to look into, using the media as motivation, films and these kind of things. Because I think the amount of impact celebrities, media, and these kind of things are having on the masses is much more than any sheikh can have. Like The first time I heard of Urtugal was Palestinians. I went to Masjid Aqsa, and there's a lady there. So she is basically like the head of the archaeology of Masjid Aqsa. She's like a doctor, PhD.
You heard the ringtone go off. Ding, 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 ding.
And guess what? No. She said to us, have you watched Urtugal? And we go, no, what's that? She goes, don't you know? Everyone in Palestine loves it. And she was saying, when you go back home, make sure you watch this. This is motivational for the Muslims. And we thought, oh my God, if the Palestinians are saying watch it, we're going to be dead. I guarantee it's going to get banned.
And then you see it on Netflix.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it becomes, you know, famous. But I think these kind of things are more motivational for people because it kind of gives them reality. Because now reality for a lot of people has become media, isn't it? Media is like an extended reality for a lot of people. And they can relate to it more. They can see things. They can like see the context of things and how things worked. And I don't know. So I think, you know, these kind of things, maybe that's the next thing to work on. Is maybe more. They remember there was that Sheikh Suleiman, Umar Suleiman, did that series. What was that called? The short little in Ramadan they used to come. And they stopped it. Inspiration. Is it inspiration? Inspiring. Someone maybe in the comments, someone will know it. And they had that guy, you know, that guy from Palestine as well. He's originally Palestinian. He does acting in there as well. Yeah.
I haven't seen those, but I might.
They're very good. Very good. And the Umar series, that is just excellent quality.
Yeah.
The acting, and you know, because I've watched a lot of these Arab, the same actors that come in the Umar series. I've seen a lot of their other productions that they've got. Bukhari, they got a Bukhari one, Muslim. Okay. Yeah, but the acting is just like total terrible. It's like, you know, this kind of like Sinbad. You know, like Sinbad kind of one. Where you kind of pull out the sword and then poof, big my smoke comes out and the genie pops out and and that was like the older. But now I think they're investing a lot of money in this kind of area and it's motivating. And
even the cinematography of Umar series, like even the battles and stuff, like they're really good.
I haven't watched Umar series. Where can you find it? On YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. But you know, another interesting side note is, you know, I teach Balagha, which is like the rhetoric of the Quran, devices used in the Quran to inspire people and to motivate them, language. So, you know, the same things I actually see in movies. Yeah, actually, no. I don't see that
series. Islamic series
are being written as we speak.
Documentaries. I mean,
you just lost all the South African following.
No, Yasin, you better be watching, bro.
All the Majlis guys just closed the
I'll give example. So, you know, in the Quran, for example, the Quran sometimes will tell a story of Musa alayhi salam, but it'll tell it from like 7-8 different ways. The same incident, the Quran will tell the story from 7-8 different ways. So sometimes I was thinking to myself, like, why does Allah do this for? And I saw it in movies where one scene, there'll be like multiple camera shots. Yeah, from the front and from the back. And they didn't do it at the same time, obviously. But it was like Allah is showing the accuracy of the story that it can be looked at from all angles and it's all consistent. And this is like one of the kind of techniques that's used. Or for example, like something which is like repetition. So a camera shot, like, you know, like the Indian movies where like the guy, like that. The son-in-law comes in with a daughter, saved her from like drowning, and then, you know, everyone's next turn. Everyone, like 2 minutes, everyone's just like looking at which direction. But that's what I'm saying. It's like it's a talent, it's a skill, a means of communication, you can say. So I think
Storytelling is a skill, whether it's done in movie or whether it's someone that's orating it, and I think it always is a means of motivation for a lot of people, isn't it?
yeah. Okay, let's just look at these. I think we're gonna have to finish soon. MashaAllah, today our highest, we hit 45 today. At one time we had 45 views.
We had about 25 on Facebook at the same time. Running about 20, 25.
So guys, subscribers, what do you guys think of these shows? Let us know what you guys think. Motivate us. Yeah.
Positive comments only, thank you.
Anyone who says anything negative,
We're gonna block you.
we know where you live. We know your IP address. And we've got some surgical masks we can cover our face with.
Yeah, man. Haki, man, anytime.
Yeah,
With my
okay.
traditional brown
So,
blue blanket.
Imran D is saying, have you read Malcolm X's autobiography? An amazing read. I've heard about it. I don't know if you guys read it.
I've not read it, but I've heard a lot of good about
I
it.
think I've read one of his autobiographies. But there's so many different ones about Malcolm X in it.
So is an autobiography written by the person themselves?
I've read biographies, not autobiography.
Okay. Who else is there? All right. So we've also got Cam is saying Yusuf Islam 1996 still got his cassette. MashaAllah. Yeah. Shout out to
Oh
Cam.
yeah, Cam was with me, man. My cousin Cam was with us.
Yeah. Is he your cousin?
Yeah, you know about Big Cam?
Yeah.
Yeah. Big
Don't
Cam
say
was my cousin.
half of Mirpur is your cousin, bro.
They're
No one of
all
those
cousins.
ones. Don't be one of those that everyone's your cousin.
It's the family bush.
Cam's actually my cousin.
It's the family bush.
Okay, S Khan is saying maybe controversial, but in my personal opinion, Imam Anwar Awlaki has. That's it. This is the end of this podcast now. Has done some of the best and the most sincere work I have come across. Seerah, Prophet stories, the hereafter. Don't tell MI5 I said that. By the way, my name is Jack.
Send them in, boys.
Nav, let's just pretend our stream's not working.
Okay, Sheikh R7 is saying, yeah, inspiration series. The actor is Muhammad Ziyara. Muhammad Ziyara inspiration series. That's the one.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Muhammad Ziyara. He's the actor in there.
Yeah, he's the actor.
Imran D.
came to
There's
the
a
UK
TV
as well.
series made of the life of Imam Ahmad Hanbal. Yeah. Dougie Kola is saying, amazing work, mashallah. Jazakallah khair. Yeah, shout out. Why now saying amazing. Weza Beats is saying, Walaikum assalam, rahmatullah. Could you give us the names of the books which you have learned, the origins of words? Okay, so if you look at my series on the origins of words.
Stop. Pull that kitab back up. The one that you get my answers from. You need not any other answers, my dear respected brother.
This is
First 1,000 words in Arabic.
where I answer
That's
all of his fatwas from.
That's it.
The foundation of Mufti Saab's fiqh.
Look at that, man. In the shop. There you go. There's your answer, brother. It's an
Mufti Saab, have you ever written a book?
Next question.
Okay, you don't answer. So
basically,
you're writing
I have,
something.
when you say written, if you're saying have I
I know
started to
you
write a book,
I'm waiting
then
for it
yes.
to come out for the last 10 years.
Okay,
You
let,
started to write a book.
me tell you the list of books I started to write. Yeah,
Evolution of Fiqh.
Evolution of Fiqh number 1, which I stopped after volume 3. Number 2 is the Muslim Martian.
Layla Majnun.
The Muslim Martian, which is a novel,
Muslim Martian.
sci-fi novel about a Muslim Martian living on Mars. Yeah. Number 3.
That sounds quite good.
Yeah, actually, it was supposed to be good. I got really into it, but then I stopped.
Was it aimed at kids or is it just? Was that one aimed at children or was it
No.
just?
The reason I wrote it was I wanted to show in a very sort of like a subtle way to the public
Hypothetical.
of how important it is for scholars to be skilled enough to be able to give answers that are outside the box. Yeah, because like if you're on Mars and you're a Muslim and you're going to live there and your children are going to live there, how do you fast? Like what do you follow? What moon? There's 2 moons on Mars. Yeah, and then the day is like 5-hour days.
I don't think they're on the 18-degree timetable.
Must this up.
Yeah. And the main thing I wanted to show was, like the appreciation of the Quran. Like a person living on Mars, how can he appreciate the Quran? Because like the things in the Quran are to do with earth, isn't it? Like the water of the earth, the rain cycle, and all these kind of things, where Allah gives examples. Like how would someone living on Mars, interact with the Quran? Like what was his? So it was something like that. Maybe some people find it controversial, and say, maybe you're giving ideas
Oh,
to
we love a
people.
bit of controversy. Don't worry, Mufti Sahab.
Well, if we've had one controversial person being mentioned in the comments already, we might as well add a few more. Yeah. So that was second
Somebody's
one.
asked a question, Mufti Sahab, on Facebook. They're asking, what direction do you pray in when you're on Mars?
That was it. What direction do you pray? Because like when you're spinning, like obviously you're spinning, Earth's spinning. So
Yeah.
so where do you pray?
He's asking you.
I don't know.
Who's asking him?
I have no idea.
I didn't get to that chapter. Somebody else has said, Mufti Sahab, can you get to that chapter soon, please? Because I want to buy the book.
So basically, the story was about this guy called Sam. He's an atheist, and then he kind of gets fed up of scientific life, where everything's governed by the laws of science, and God
Uncle
is
Sam,
like
I see what you did there. MashaAllah.
mocked
Uncle
at.
Sam, we're gone. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, that was it basically. And then the guy finds a Muslim, and then there's like I had to do a lot of research into the theoretical ways of living on Mars. Terraforming. That's a common one. Elon
Wow.
Musk is basically terraforming. You kind of like build these factories there, pump all these kind of chemicals into atmosphere, and then create an artificial ozone layer, and then it kind of like heats up there. Anyways, all these kind of.
How much did you write of it?
I got it on my laptop. I wrote basically. Basically what I had to do. This is where I found that those people who make storylines, like these films you get that are rubbish, and you think, how the hell did these films get onto like the big screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, you realize consistency in films in a script is the hardest thing you can ever do. So I had to go through these forums of story writers online. There's actually forums of story writers, and I had to go through them to see what the best ideas were of how you write a story. And because what happens is when you're writing a story, let's say a few days goes by, you forget about a particular character. You got to put yourself in that character's shoes, and you got to think like him. You got to kind of like describe the situation as he would describe it, and it's got to stay consistent because the guy reading the book, he's going to be reading it in one go, and you've been writing it over many years. So that's why the Quran is just amazing, because although it's revealed over 23 years, the consistency is just like amazing. It's like all throughout. You don't find any sort of like change in the language as well. Like the language doesn't change. Normally people's language changes over a few decades.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's just finish off some more questions and then we might call it a day. All right, so Bilal Nuhu is saying, may Allah bless you for doing this in the pandemic times. Allah subhanallah. Jazakallah khair. Kam is saying half mirpuri. Allah, half mirpuri. What does that mean? I don't know.
That means he's only half mirpuri.
Are you half Pathan, bro? Kam.
He's got the Pathan gene structure.
Has he? Yeah, he actually has, There's big hands in it. Yeah.
MashaAllah, yeah.
Okay, M Mullah
All
Mufti
the better to slap people.
M Mullah saying, Mufti Sahab, finish the Muslim Martian. I want to buy it already. Okay, yeah. So anything else, guys?
No, nothing from us. But I think one of the things we would say is that do leave in the comments if you enjoyed the podcast, and let us know what you want to hear us talk about next, inshallah, because we're always looking for topics to go over.
Are there any questions or comments on the Facebook?
Let me have a quick look. Somebody's dropped a question and they said, when is Naveed going to do a halal rap?
Halal rap.
Somebody liked the book on Mars again on Facebook. That's it really, mashallah. We got commentary watching as well. But about 16 to 18 people constantly watching. We went up to about 20 at one stage as well.
Guys, Joe Rogan, you better watch out, bro.
Joe who?
For the 3 dates.
The 3 dates.
I'll be the Ajwa, yeah, because I got black on. I'll be the Ajwa.
What color do you think I'm wearing? What date would be red? I'm trying to work it out.
I don't even know a red date actually. I know a red date, Valentine's Day.
Allah.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah. Again, this is Imran here.
Goodbye, South Africa.
Bye, South Africa.
It was good knowing you.
It was good knowing you.
Right.
Oh yeah.
You want some poetry?
Yeah,
you want some poetry then?
Before that, let me tell you something. So I was teaching this guy today, innit? So he's from Saudi Arabia. Shocking thing, I tell you. Look, this guy here who studies by me, he's from Saudi Arabia. The guy says we can't learn our deen in Saudi Arabia. Imagine that. I was shocked.
What?
He goes, for foreigners, the locals hardly interact with them. Yeah, and there's no sort of like in the major cities, there's no sort of facility for foreigners to learn their religion. And I was shocked.
Unless
He goes,
you're
yeah.
the Jamias, basically.
And he goes to me, I actually teach. He goes, because expats or foreigners that are living in Saudi, they live in like their own communities, all
Yeah, yeah.
foreigners together, and they go to their own schools. They don't go to Arab schools and all that. And he goes, I have to teach them like fiqh and things. He goes, they don't even know. And he goes, when you're living in the UK, you think, oh, Saudi's gonna be an amazing place. My children are gonna be brought up in Deen. And he goes, but for most expats, it's a totally different story. Once they go there, they hardly have any sort of exposure to like what we expected, what we thought that they were getting exposure to. He goes, practicing your religion in the UK is probably more easier, in the sense they learn more about their religion than they do in. So this guy was telling me, he goes to me, he goes, in Saudi, the laws on the COVID-19 are so strict.
Yeah.
You can't leave your house. And if you want to leave your house, you got to text the police the reason why you want to leave. And then they'll give you a permission to leave. And if you go out without their permission, it's a 10,000 riyal fine.
What?
Yeah, 10,000, that's about £2,000. Yeah,
That's a lot of thoughts and stuff.
And he goes, basically, because the big problem there now is the people who are on iqamas, like from other countries, because they got no jobs. And he goes, they're living in like cramped accommodation. Loads of them living in one like flat or something, apartment. And he goes, this is like causing such a bad problem now that the Saudis have made, the hospitals free for anyone now. Right? Even the guys who don't have iqama, illegally staying there, they've said even they can go there as well. We won't arrest them or anything. Because the problem's so bad that, it might be because of them that it's going to prolong. And then he goes, the other problem, petrol is free. Petrol over there, he goes, it's zero price. In fact, what they're doing is they're paying people to take the petrol. So he goes there because they're pumping out so much petrol that they got no way to store it, and it costs more to store the petrol than to
use it.
So they're actually selling their petrol, like they're actually giving people money to take the petrol. So it's crazy how Allah can just flip the tables on everyone, and the people you thought that were gonna be rich forever, all of a sudden their wealth becomes worthless. Kind of makes you think about the Day of Judgment, doesn't it? Like you think the money in your bank, and you think all your possessions and everything, they have some value, and then you stand in front of Allah on the Day of Judgment and nothing has value. You just had that big shock. Yeah, man. So go on, Nav, what are you gonna say?
Nav, you gonna finish with the poem?
Give him a quick poem.
Just not a 2-pack one.
Okay, we'll start with Biggie.
I thought you were gonna start with Hit 'Em Up.
How do you even know what that is, brother?
Shall I do the background humming?
Yeah.
It's just that Nav, that first line would end any podcast that we wanted to do in the future.
Oh no, bro. This one's definitely not one for. You definitely have to delete this podcast. I feel really motivated to do on.
He's gonna do California Dreams. What are you gonna do?
Go on.
Altaf, you have to sit there going Allah, 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 Allah.
I'll do this.
Just like this. Oi, your brethren
Have you got a green hijab? Give me a green hijab. I'll just wave that around.
Go on, go for it.
Go on, Nav.
Alright, a bit of a light-hearted one. I hope no one takes offense. If you take offense, then the shoe probably fits. Okay. Bismillah. Don't do it for the gram or social media. These likes and shares and who's retweeting you will make you depressed, jealous, and greedier. These wannabe stars tend to crash like meteor. You can't take Deen from Wikipedia and think you're some sort of encyclopedia. Refuting everyone, shaitan misleading you. Our pride and ego make life no easier. Truth is, now we got bigger fish to fry. Not debating with people that pray different to I. Wahi, way on the huck. Now don't be that guy. Ain't grown no feathers, but you're eager to fly. Are you staying up all night just watching refutations? In love with the fame, status, and reputation, our hearts are sick, Quran's the medication, the answers you seek you find in Revelation. Perfect in text and preservation, the book of religion needs no reformation. I say that proudly with no hesitation till I'm underground like a London station. And there's more to life than Facebook and Twitter. No point getting all angry and bitter. On certain issues, your opinions may differ, but that's still no reason for you and me to bicker. You're my brother. I love you for the sake of Allah. We stand shoulder to shoulder when it's time for Salah. We're all trying to walk the same road to Falah. May Allah aid you in every ibtala. I don't want you to make the same mistakes as I did. Read 2 books and get overexcited. Now all of a sudden the whole world's misguided. Why do you think our ummah is so divided? And I know you mean good, bro. You mean no evil. But not everyone's level of iman is equal. Can't we just all get along and be peaceful, be tough on yourself and be easy on people? What I'm about to say usually goes untold. Forget blindfolding. These days we wear a blindfold. Can't just throw people outside the fold. Same sad story in every household. It's advice to myself first and foremost. Show mercy. No need to be cutthroat. Sometimes people will hit the goalpost. Don't abandon your brother when he needs you the most. Now you're going around telling everyone that he's deviated. And that poor guy don't even know what his mistake is. How come you're always angry and aggravated? How you trying to school others when you ain't graduated? And I'll say how it is, bro. I won't sugarcoat it. This cult-like mentality, we don't endorse it. Our deen is of mercy. Don't try to distort it. The bond of brotherhood, need to try and reinforce it. Nobody's telling you to compromise on beliefs, but bro, it's best to think twice before you speak. Can't learn 2 words of Arabic and disrespect scholars when in reality you're not even the dust on their feet. And this ain't aimed at any person or group. May Allah forgive us all and guide us all to the truth. Only the patients experience the sweet taste of the fruit. We turn issues minute into the scale of Jalut. Just leave the ikhtilaf to the people of ilm. Don't stray away from the Jamaat to do your own thing. And we all make mistakes, need to take it on the chin. Just be grateful Allah has not exposed all our sins. There you go, bro.
MashaAllah, fire in the booth.
MashaAllah, takbir. MashaAllah.
I was going to say fire in the masjid, but we don't want that.
So, you know, when you come out with these poems, like, do you come out with it in one go, one sitting, or is it just like over time you change it?
To be honest with you, Mufti Sahib, it'll start off as an idea and then I'll build upon it.
Okay.
Like, there's a poem that I've done that went quite viral. It was the one about death. I wrote that after listening to a certain lecture series, who I won't mention whose lecture series it was, but it kind of motivated me to write about that particular subject. And what I did with that poem is I took little bits and bobs, everything that was about death, whether it be a Quran quote, whether it be a hadith, or whether it be a say of a scholar like Sheikh Hassan al-Basri, anybody like that, anything to do with death. I wrote everything down, and I thought, how am I going to tell this as a story where I take snippets from everything, so a layman could listen to it and think, yeah, I need to fix up, or I'll have an impact on him. And at the same time, if a student of knowledge listened to the poem, they think, you know what, he actually bothered to do a little bit of research, and he did look at this, and he said this, and this is from here, and so that's what I try and do. Now, moving forward, I've realized that the audience that we've got for the poetry and stuff, that's changing. A lot of the shabab that listen to poems and stuff like that is probably just an alternative for music.
By the way, Shabab is not a particular organization in a certain part of the world, okay?
Yeah. For the youngsters, sorry. Now I've realized that a lot of them, they're not that practicing, so I can't go into certain subjects. So now I'll try and talk about stuff that's a bit more relevant.
You know your stuff. Where can you find your stuff?
My wife hides it normally.
I don't mean the illegal stuff.
Okay.
That's good, that is. Where's your stuff? My wife hides it normally.
Yeah.
How can we follow you? He's going to turn around and show his back and say, that's what my back looks like.
How do you follow me? I need to be a bit more active in it, Mufti Sahib.
Yeah, I think, you know what? I think
it was on One Path Network, on Talk Islam, some like platforms, but I need to put some more stuff out now, inshallah. The plan was to put 2 videos out this year, but obviously there's coronavirus things happen now, and inshallah I'm going to put some content out.
Why didn't you put some audio things up?
To be honest with you, in the digital age now, Mufti Sahib, nobody will even bat an eyelid unless there's like some some visual content with it.
No, I mean,
so
you can just get some good recording or something.
Yeah.
And you just put it up, get it a bit edited.
Possibly.
I think this kind of thing, I would get more motivated by this kind of speech than listening to a scholar for about half an hour. I don't know about you guys.
It's just aimed at a different audience, Mufti Sahib, because like the stuff I'm talking about, the average Joe that's probably started practicing or to some level of practicing, he's probably involved with whatever Jama'ah he's ascribed himself to or whatever manhaj he's on.
Yeah.
Everybody, there's an element of what I talked about in that, so that's why I wrote it in that particular way. But recently I wrote stuff that's more aimed at kids that are on the streets, that I just tell them how it is basically, and kind of give them the raw format of their lifestyle and how they'll end up. And so I'm trying.
I think it's good. I think you should. I think a lot of people here, they on the YouTube, they've actually said, "MashaAllah." Yeah. Whoa. I don't know if that's a whoa, like as in what the one of those ones. But yeah, do you get kind of emotional at your own poetry sometimes?
There's one poem I've written in the past which was quite an emotional poem. It's called The Diary of a Refugee, and it's emotional because we met the person that the poem's about, and I basically narrate his life, whatever he told us, what he went through. I say it as a poem, and like I performed it and people have cried. So that one's a bit. You want to hear it, Mufti Saab, before I go?
Come on, man.
The subscribers, do you guys want to hear it? Or have you had enough of
Naveed
dates?
Somebody called you a wizard on YouTube.
Me? A wizard?
Yes.
Yeah, somebody said.
He's a
Why is
grand
there
wizard.
a podcast who is that wizard with the glasses?
My wife's laughing. Thank you for that.
Hook Stratton, whoever that is. They've retracted the comments now.
That's
It's a
it.
bit
Too
sad.
late. We saw it, Hook Stratton. We saw it.
We saw it and we mentioned it now.
Wizard. Gandalf.
Gandalf, give us another poem.
Gandalf, give us another poem.
You know what, Nav?
I went to the Shire. I was for hire.
Nav, next time, the name when it comes up on Zoom.
Yeah.
You should just have it as a different wizard every time.
Gandalf, Mufti Liaquat, and Gandalf.
In the past, in fact, in Jahiliyyah, the two kind of main sort of like figures in a society that were the most influential were the poets and the wizards. Not as in like magical wizards that can make like a rabbit from a hat. The wizard was like the wise one in the city, like the physician, the kind of alchemist kind of guy.
The one that's dressed like a wizard.
That's it, bro. That's it. Yes.
This thobe is actually made by a tailor that Altaf recommended to me in Medina.
Is he a leprechaun?
Yeah, he lives under a bridge. There's a pot of gold you have to give him, and he makes you a thobe.
That brother's amazing, mashallah. Majid. Abdul Majid.
Yeah, go on. Imran D is saying one more, please. The last one, then we finish off.
Drop it off.
Yeah, and also, guys, in the comments, if you can write down what would you like to see here next time? What kind of topic would you like to hear next time? And do you think that this is something that we should carry on? Yeah. Go on.
Mufti Saab, this one's about 4 minutes long though. So you ready? Are you falling asleep?
I'm on the 18-degree timetable today. What time does it finish?
No, it's 12:21. We've got a bit of time. If we can wrap it up before 12:30, I think it'll be bang on.
Go on.
Don't worry,
what time is your Fajr?
At the moment, I think it's about 2:58.
Oh, mine's about 4.
You like that name, Mufti Saab? When you ask anybody outside of Ramadan, what time is Fajr? Oh, it's about 3ish, isn't it? About 3:30, 20 past 3. What time is Fajr today? 2:58.
Maghrib, they can give in seconds.
Exact.
Maghrib's at 8:52.
You know what happened
52 and 3 minutes.
In our house? You know what happened? My sister, she said the wrong time for iftar. Yeah, on the first day, she said 8:38. And I was thinking to myself, I just prayed Maghrib the other day, and it was about 8:23. How can it be jump 50 minutes? I know some people play with the calendars. Can't be that bad. So basically, she made a mistake and she said the wrong date. And the next day, everyone was like moody with her. So go on.
That's all. We'll do the poem then, yeah?
Go on now.
Alright then. This one's a bit sad, yeah? You got your tissue box ready? I shouldn't even crack jokes about it, it's a true story. Alright, Bismillah.
I thought you started it there.
Is there a Just Giving link after this one now?
Nah, but since we're on the subject of just giving...
Okay, well, one thing is, people out there, if they are to donate to anyone, who would you say today is the most eligible or the best?
My screen cracking up now. I think I can't answer this question.
Who would you say?
Just stop the video.
I'll just bug that. No comment there from Allah. Mufti Saab, even the organization I work for, I can vouch for it because I'm the person that's
What's the organization called?
It's called One Ummah.
One Ummah, guys. One Ummah.
The reason I say it is because I'm the programs manager, Mufti Saab. I'm responsible for the spend, so I have to review all the proposals. Me and obviously the CEO, we get the final say of what we spend away. So I'm the one that takes money from the separate pots. I know how strict we are with even things like gift aid and stuff like that. So I know with zakat, sadaqah, we don't mess around. If something's allocated for a certain thing, it'll be spent on that. And we're one of the few organizations that actually have some level of scholarly backing and ambassadors for our organization that are involved in dawah and some level of Islamic academia. So, alhamdulillah. But
So
I will say another thing. I don't want to be biased. I work for One Ummah. We work in 15 countries. Maybe there's something that somebody might be interested in that we don't do. I'll never say that give to us and we're the only people that are brilliant and amazing. I think that people in the sector should always avoid framing others and calling names. And just because an organization doesn't have that 100% donation policy, that we're not saying that they're not good brothers to give to. So there are amazing organizations out there, but my advice is obviously give some, like everybody knows, like the asal, give some zakat locally as well. I know like there's Mullah Nasir, he does it every year. He takes some zakat and he distributes it locally. So, and if you're able to give to your family and friends, like I'm not family and friends, I mean give to the people that are closest to you. So whether that be people abroad, like that your parents know, your mum's probably going to know someone that's quite poor in Pakistan that she's been supporting and things like that. So don't treat that stuff just because it's not given to a big organization. It doesn't mean that the zakat isn't needed over there. We can't get to those people because we deal with like villages and cities and stuff like that. Only your mother will know about a case in your ground back home where somebody's daughter needs to get married or somebody's about to get evicted. So people just need to take it a bit more as an act of worship. It's not something that you just a tick box exercise that I've just donated and stuff like that.
By the way, tick box, make sure you guys hit like here. Hit the likes button.
Right, shall I give him the poem and we call it a night then, yeah?
Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Alright, Bismillah. The sounds of bombs falling replace the echoes of Adhan. Can't believe this is happening to us when we did nobody harm. Screaming, save us, my Lord, as I raise up my palms. In a state of alarm, Allah raise my iman. My terrified wife grips on tight to my arm as I'm holding my children while trying to keep calm. Had to leave Palestine, now I seek refuge in Sham, back in the same situation that I can't escape from. Buildings around us have now turned into rubble. I hear screaming and cries, Ya Allah, grant me sabr. Nothing makes any sense, but I won't question your qadr. Bombing started at Isha, hasn't ended at Fajr. Every day the number of casualties doubled, trying to climb my way out of this mountain of trouble. Dreams shattered to pieces, tears turned into puddles. Can't stay here any longer, every day is a struggle. My beautiful city is now home of the martyrs. Hear the orphans cry out for their mothers and fathers. Sleepless nights and the days are our darkest. We've been disregarded, they swept us under the carpet. When I step out my house, then I'm ducking for cover. I've been searching for days, but no sign of my mother. No sign of my father, no sign of my brother. I wasn't prepared for what I'd discover. It's strange how in life sometimes our roles are reversed. I hold her in her final moments like she once held me at birth. No words to describe to you how much this hurts. Yes, people around me try for me comforting words, but nothing will change the fact that she's gone. Oh, Mother in Jannah, please ask for your son. I'll weep at your feet till they drag me along, begging for justice, praying that the hour would come. I have to keep it together for my wife and my kids. Syria is not a place where I want them to live. I want them to experience what true happiness is. I'll do whatever it takes. All that I have, I will give. So I'll throw all of my savings and belongings in a backpack to the rest of the world with just statistics and hashtags. Nobody's helping. Everybody's just sat back watching from a distance as we're caught up in this rat trap. No hatchback. We're on foot, walking to the border. Feet covered in blisters, public transport out of order. Fearing for our safety as I look over my shoulder. Yes, Turkey's getting closer. I pray they allow us to cross over. I watch the days turn to weeks and the weeks turn to months. What kind of father can't provide for his son? I'm in the slum street like scum while I work for income. I'm working 7 days a week but still surviving on crumbs. I can't send my kids to school, just about afford the rent, but anything is better than the camps and the tents. I know the people there are trying their best, so no offense, good intent, but for me the place is mental torment. I just want safety for my kids. Is that too much to ask? Europe's on the other side, how green is the grass? I left Pharaoh at my home, will the sea let me pass? My heart racing as I hand the smuggler the cash. I look into the distance, all I see is pitch black. 15 of us cramped on a 6-man raft. I'm left with nothing other than the clothes in my back, sailing into a storm, but it's too late to turn back. Family terrified, I see the fear in their eyes, holding on to dear life as we swing from side to side, swallowed by darkness. I search the skies for sunrise. A huge wave caves in and leaves the boat capsized. If I knew this was my fate, then I would have picked the torture. I watched my son drown, my wife taken away by the water. Life flashes before my eyes as I lose grip of my daughter. My example is that of a shepherd who led his flock to slaughter. I swim and I swim until I lose the feeling in my arms, reciting every ayah that I remember in the Quran, trying to reassure myself that this is a test of my iman. I can't help but blame myself. I guess it's the whispers of shaitan. I've lost the will to live. I see the coast in the distance. Do I swim to the shore? Does anyone care for my existence? Just because we're a little different, can we not live in coexistence? Bearded strangers with flashlights, I pray they're here for my assistance. 2 of them dive in, help pull me at the sea. Please help me find my family. I cry and I plea. I wouldn't wish upon an enemy what happened to me. Another body washes ashore. I rush over to see. My young daughter lying lifeless brings me down to my knees. The brothers break down in tears as they try to console me. Oh Allah, she was yours. You took her back. Who am I to disagree? To you I complain about my weakness. Make me content with your decree.
MashaAllah, that's good. It's deep. Ya Allah, may Allah make it easy for those who are suffering in the world, and subhanallah. Alright guys, you guys want to say anything last?
Oh, Jazakallah khair.
Is that a hint, yeah? Naveed, we got the hint.
That's a hint from my wife that I need to go.
So it's not 18 degrees or anything.
Please don't hit me with the slipper.
Wait, your wife from Birmingham Jami Masjid. They know
Yeah.
the thing ends there.
Yeah, it's like people have like certain like authorities over them, innit? One is like the 18 degrees, and one is like the wife.
Yeah, the wife takes precedence.
Take it.
I think needs that 1 hour nap.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, guys. MashaAllah.
Yeah.
May Allah reward all you guys. Guys, thank you for tuning in and sticking. MashaAllah. I mean, it's been a consistent, at least over 30 people from the beginning. MashaAllah. And all these people are kind of.
Are we gonna get paid now, Mufti Sahab?
Yeah, you know that the kind of thing they do in the Pakistani sort of things where they get the rupees and just throw it on you. Yeah.
Throw some change.
Yeah. Monopoly money. Monopoly buy. Monopoly. Jazakallah khair. May Allah reward you. Alright guys, so inshallah we'll see you guys on Monday inshallah again. And let us know in the comments inshallah what kind of topics you guys like to hear. Maybe we can bring someone else on Monday.
We can do.
Yeah,
There's a brother I wanted to actually invite, man. Do you know who Zishan is? From Small to Jannah.
Yeah.
He's a laugh and a joke. I think we should get him on, inshallah.
Yeah, maybe later on because he's too good.
They might expect too much of us.
we have to follow you up with something. We have to follow you up, bro.
Alright guys, Jazakallah khair guys. Let's finish off.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.